All right, so we started this book, Bees, on Monday, but we didn't get a chance to finish it. So now I'm going to read the whole book. We've read some parts already, but strong readers always reread. So we're just going to read the whole thing again. So this is all about bees. And we had taken a look at our table of contents. And it looks like we're going to learn about a lot of different subtopics like pollination, where bees live, what bees do. And it looks like there is a glossary at the end. So if I come across some words that I don't know the meaning of, I can check that glossary to see if it has a definition. So this section is called a buzz. I do always want to notice the headers and any other text features in the book to help us learn. So outside, the sun is shining. The flowers are blooming and the bees are buzzing. When some people see bees, they run. Others might not notice the bees. But let's stop and take a closer look. Bees are helpful. Our world needs bees. And we talked about this section sounds like it is an introduction and not necessarily about one subtopic. But I do think I forgot to read the joke on Monday. So it says, what kind of bee is hard to understand? I really don't know. A mumblebee. Sometimes my family says I have a problem of being like a mumblebee, but that's funny. All right, this section is called Helpful Bees. Bees help both people and plants. Honeybees make honey and beeswax. People use these things in lots of ways. So let's take a look at these captions. It says beeswax is used to make candles and cleaning supplies. Honey is sweet and delicious. I agree. A bee sits on the flower of a strawberry plant. Oh, I bet it's drinking some sweet nectar. All kinds of bees help plants make seeds. Seeds can grow into new plants. Some of those plants give us fruits and vegetables. We can thank bees for strawberries, apples, almonds, tomatoes, and many other foods. I know I'd be sad if those foods went away. Pollen power. When a bee lands on a flower, the flower's pollen rubs off on the bee. Pollen sticks to tiny hairs on the bee's body. Ooh, it looks like there's a little text box that tells us what one of those expert words mean. So pollen is a sticky yellow powder made by flowers. And the caption here says this bee has pollen all over its body. When the bee travels to another flower, pollen from the bee brushes off onto the new flower. This is called pollination. And I like how this book tells you how to read some of those expert words. Unlike the book yesterday that I made some mistakes in, this really helps me know exactly how to read the words so I read it correctly. Now the new flower can start to make seeds. We had learned about this in our mystery science lesson, that for a flower to make seeds, it needs to be pollinated with the pollen from another flower that's the same type of flower. A bee's leg has special hairs that form a basket. The bee brushes pollen into the basket. Then it flies back to the nest. This pollen is used as food for baby bees. So it looks like this is a bee leg, and the label says that this is the empty pollen basket it has on its legs. I did not know that. These pollen baskets are filled with pollen. Only female bees have them. I wonder why. Bees collect nectar from flowers too. They drink nectar with their tongues. Some bees make honey out of nectar. These bees are called honeybees. And it looks like it tells us what that word nectar means. A sweet, sugary juice that flowers make. And here the caption says, I guess it's a label, is saying that is the tongue on a bumblebee. That is a long tongue. 7 cool facts about bees. But first, the garden bumblebee has a tongue that is as long as its body. Whew. I wouldn't want my tongue to be as long as my body. Second, humans collected honey from bees as early as 6000 BC. Wow. So bees have been around a long time. 3, bees have 4 wings, 2 large wings and 2 small wings. 4, bees can see colors. They are most likely to land on flowers that are blue, purple, or yellow. 5, farmers often hire beekeepers to bring bees to their fields. The bees pollinate the farmer's crops. 6. Honeybees do a dance called the waggle. Scientists think that the dance shows other bees in the hive where the best nectar is. I wonder if that's where they got the wiggle wobble. 7. About 1/3 of the food on our planet grows because of bees' pollination. And that's why they're so important. A bee or not a bee? It's easy to mistake other insects for bees. They often look alike, but there are ways to tell them apart. Take a closer look at a bee and a yellow jacket wasp. Which is not a bee? Do you see what's different? All right, so this is great. They're using these text features, these labels, to help us see what is different about a bee and a yellow jacket wasp. So one thing, it's saying that a bee has hair all over its body that helps catch pollen. So if we compare that to a wasp, it's saying that a wasp does not have much hair. Bees also have those pollen baskets on their legs that we saw earlier if the bee is female. But I guess no wasps have pollen baskets. And then bees eat nectar and pollen from flowers, but yellow jacket wasps eat mostly meat, such as other insects. Oh, interesting. And then it looks like we have a joke about a wasp up here. What do you call a wasp? A wannabe. That's funny. So because people are mistaking them, yellow jackets are kind of like wannabe bees. A world of bees. About 20,000 kinds of bees live on Earth. All bees are either, it tells me how to read this word, solitary bees or social bees. A solitary bee makes a nest for its young. The nest is inside a hole in the ground, in wood, in walls, or in plant stems. Solitary bees collect pollen, but they do not make honey or beeswax. Okay? And then it tells me down here that solitary bees, it means that the bee lives alone. And social bees are bees that live in a group. And that makes sense because solitary means alone and social means you like to be around other people or things. And the caption here is that most bees are solitary bees. So I guess bees don't really like to hang out with each other. Social bees live with many other bees. A group of social bees is called a colony. A colony of bees live in a hive. Honeybees are one kind of social bee. As many as 50,000 honeybees may live in one hive. Bees care for their young there. They make and store honey in the hive too. Down here it tells us that word hive means an open space within a tree, structure, or box where social bees live together. And here's a picture of a honeybee hive. 50,000 bees is a lot. Let's see what the joke is. What goes zub zub? A bee? A bee flying backward. Oh, I get it. Zub zub is buzz backwards. So a bee flying backwards would say zub zub. All right, home sweet home. Inside the hive, honeybees build with beeswax. The bees mold the wax into 6-sided shapes called cells. Lots of cells together make a honeycomb. And it tells us here that a honeycomb is a sheet of 6-sided cells made of beeswax. The bees put nectar from flowers into some of the cells. As the nectar gets thicker, it turns into honey. Bees eat the honey for food. Oh, that's interesting. I think we had talked about, do we eat nectar? And it seems like in a way we do, but we usually are eating honey, but honey is made from nectar, so I guess we were all kind of right in that discussion. Other cells in the hive hold bee eggs. There is one egg in each cell. The eggs hatch. The young bees grow and change. After 21 to 24 days, the young bees become adults. There's a nice diagram here that shows how that happens. So starting here is the egg, gets bigger and bigger, and it becomes a pupa, and then it becomes an adult bee. So as a bee starts as an egg, it becomes an adult in about 3 weeks. And here it shows that each cell has one egg. Adult bees feed and care for the young. These young are almost ready to come out of the cells. Busy as a bee. So that's a saying that some people say. Every honeybee in the colony has a special job. These jobs keep the colony healthy and strong. There's only one queen bee. She is bigger than the other bees. She lays all of the eggs, up to 1,500 or 1,500 per day. Worker bees surround the queen. She's the largest bee in the middle. She really is a busy bee. There are two kinds of bees in the colony. Drone bees are male bees. Their job is to help the queen make eggs. Worker bees have many jobs. These females feed the queen and care for the young. They build the hive and make honey. On long flying trips, they collect pollen and nectar. They also guard the hive against enemies. Whew, that's a lot of work. So this worker bee is collecting pollen. Keeping bees. So this is like that beekeeper that came for our in-school field trip. Some humans build honeybee hives out of wooden boxes. Beekeepers take care of the hives and collect the honey. Beekeepers also check the bee colonies to make sure they are healthy. Beekeepers know how important bees are to our world. And here it tells us that beekeepers wear special clothes to protect them from stings. And here we have be aware. In this text box, it's going to tell us some tips for staying safe around bees. Move slowly. Don't wave your arms or jump around. If a bee thinks it's being attacked, it may sting. And I think that's the same thing that the beekeeper told us. If a bee comes near you, stand still or walk slowly away. Do not swat at a bee. Let it fly away on its own. Do not disturb any bee nest or honeybee hive. The bees will defend their home and may sting an attacker. If you are stung by a bee, put ice on the sting. If you leave bees alone, they will probably leave you alone. And remember, the beekeeper told us that when they sting you, they die. So they really aren't going to sting you unless they feel like they have to protect their hive. And then we got a joke up here. Why did the bee get married? I don't know. Because he found his honey. Ah. All right, looks like we got a quiz. I'll just put that in the screen. So if you want to pause the video and take this quiz on your own, you totally can. And then at the end, we have a glossary, but I think we defined those words as we were reading since they were also in the text box. So thanks for listening, and I hope you learned a lot about bees and also noticed some great text features in this book, like the headings, bolded words, text boxes, diagrams, labels, glossary. This book had it all. So thank you.